All right, boys. Boys, and everyone listening, welcome back to the 3 of 7 podcast. Snowed in Atlanta.
And south.
In Panama City.
Well, there goes local news.
Didn't they get like 9 inches of snow or something in Florida? Something crazy?
Panama City's freaking black ice instant death.
Yeah.
Hey,
Garrison's got it handled, though.
Oh, he got that wharf locked down. You
Yeah.
think they're going out today?
No, they ain't.
Grizz called it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Freaking
Look,
shout out to the pipe
All
dream.
you have to do in anything you do is just be consistent, and you will be right sometime.
Every now and then.
So if you are doom and gloom about everything, you're going to be right eventually.
Well, Grizz's Cornbread seems to think that Grizz's doom is getting out of hand.
It is. It's getting worse and worse.
Brief us on this.
But he was right about this.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he absolutely was.
No, he allowed that I wasn't going to be able to close on my house today because everything was going to be shut down. That was his main. So he has been saying every weather event that comes up, the last ROP, because it was 40% chance of rain in our area, was supposed to be the worst ROP, and we was all going to be miserable, just hating life. And this snow event, Winter Storm Inaz is what they named it, was supposed to just shut and cripple the southeast. Supposed to be the worst storm since 1993.
Well, he said the Atlanta airport today was the worst that he's ever seen it.
Yeah.
He's only ever seen it one time, I think.
Yeah.
But the airport's the worst. Out of all the one time he's seen it, it's worse today than that one time he's seen it. I guarantee you that much.
He told me yesterday about it's probably about 2:00, and he said I'm staying home. They showed it might get pretty bad even up and around here.
Yeah.
And I said that is literally a 0% chance of precipitation in Rome today. He said, well, it's a little bit south of Rome.
Yeah.
You know, there's a
Oh my gosh, it's Winter Storm Enzo.
Inaz.
Of course.
here we go again.
It's literally Enzo. I mean,
Inaz.
Well, you know, there's a common thread though, because Grizz is not the only person in my immediate family that's typically doom and gloom. There's a common thread, and it's generally with that age group. All right, the people that are in their, mid late 50s, early 60s, and older, I guess. They grew up, and the only source of like news they had was mainstream media, right? They didn't have social media. They didn't have internet. And so if they wanted to get the news, they had to watch the TV. I remember my dad, when I was a kid, he would set up every night to watch the 11 o'clock news. Wasn't it? Didn't it come on well, you might not have been around yet.
Well, it was, I think it was 10 o'clock news.
It may have been 10 o'clock, but I remember it was late, like later than I was allowed to be awake.
And I remember waking up to it, hearing it play.
Yeah, he used to watch it in that the living room on the second deck of that old house we grew up
in
in.
the loft.
Yep. And
on the
you
deck.
still remember that house?
Yeah.
How much younger are you than me? 3 years?
4.
4? Okay. Yeah, I remember they would watch it. That was the thing. You wasn't going to go to bed until you watched that news at night. But they didn't have internet. That was the only way to know what was happening in your local area or around the world,
Right.
Was news any different back then than it is today? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I think it was more just straightforward and blunt. They didn't add all the intricacies and drama into it. Didn't seem like to me anyhow. Back when I was a youngster in the 80s watching it.
more opinion now.
Yeah, a lot more opinion. Yeah.
Well, It's a production. I mean, the only way that they can get people to watch their mess now is if they add dramatic dramatization to it.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That's the only way they can get people to watch their mess now.
Mm-hmm.
So it had to change over time because all of a sudden mainstream media had competitors or when the internet came around and social media came around, right? So they had to fluff it up somehow. I mean, it had to have been a tremendous shift.
Yeah.
But this is the common thread with everybody I know who is constantly doom and gloom. And the common thread is they still watch that news, that mainstream media, and they watch it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I know these people, look, I'm trying to stay calm. Look, these are people in my family. When their feet hit the ground and they walk into the living room, the first thing they're doing is looking for that clicker because they've got to turn that darn news on. And you wake up in the right first thing in the morning, and first thing you do is look at that TV, and they're telling you there was some mass shooting over here or some terrorist attack here, big freaking fires burning everything down or over here. Look, man, you can't be hearing all that crap all the time right when you wake up in the morning. And then they get their fill of it, but then they leave it on. And it just plays.
Just let it play.
All day. Just as background noise.
Yeah.
Like they can't not have that TV on. Right? I'm telling you, man, you can't do that and not just be doom and gloom all the time.
Well, and now
It's affecting you, man.
Oh, I agree.
But it's that generation, right, that grew up with that. They're the only ones, I guess, that's still watching mainstream media. There's a bunch of them left,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I
now
agree.
you're not even able to get a good unopinionated news source since they took TikTok down.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
That was the only place you
I
could
thought it
get
came
free
back.
speech news.
It's back.
Well, it's not. It ain't on my
Haven't
app.
they banned TikTok already 3 or 4 times? Like I've seen it on and off for years.
Well, it never really went through.
Okay,
They've
they
just
were
been
just talking
trying
about
to.
it.
Ever since Zuckerberg went and talked to the Chinese.
Yeah.
I seen Mr. Beast going to buy that joint, TikTok.
He's going to buy TikTok? I don't think
see.
he's got enough money.
TikTok ain't no telling what that'd be worth.
It was worth, if the ban went through it. That's why Big Daddy Trump helped get it back, because if it was banned, it's less appealing, worth a lot less than what it is if it's still going on.
It's already getting better.
And I'm not sure I buy into the national security threat, because all this really started when Zuckerberg went over there to China and talked to the XI, talked to him and was like, hey, man, can we get Facebook over here in China? And he's like, no, but we don't really need that over here. So,
We got TikTok.
yeah, right on out. And Zuckerberg come on back to the house, and he was like, whoa, this TikTok is bad business, but I just left China. It's bad.
Well, he was over there on a bow hunt.
Yeah.
Well, now all of a sudden, Zuckerberg is everybody's best friend now.
Yeah.
Just like
he's
Trump
just
is.
all of a sudden, he's
Yeah.
just, everybody loves him now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's strange times we're living in, man.
All the billionaires are aligning behind Trump.
Yes.
You know, Vivek is a billionaire, I think. And him and Elon, obviously, richest man in the world, the government efficiency team. And then Bill Gates just came.
I heard Vivek dropped out of
Okay.
Doge.
Well, Bill Gates just said, he said, well, I've been talking to Trump. You know, he's not that bad.
Really?
And yeah, and Zuckerberg's been doing all this. And I even noticed Jeff Bezos was over there in Trump's corner at the inauguration. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the Amazon head.
Yeah, so he's $200 billion. I mean, there's lots of money behind that fool. Got a team.
It's just wild, man. These people that everybody have just hated, you know, it's like, look, man, these jokers are crawfishing.
Look. All of a sudden, there's going to be great peace everywhere. Doom, doom, doom.
Yep. Yep. The world is uniting.
Doom, doom, doom.
You know what, man? So I wasn't going to lead with this conversation, but we're already here, so we might as well just go ahead and talk about it. Because really what I wanted to cover today, and we will here in just a little bit, is the cool stuff that happened on the Rite of Passage this past weekend. But I made a truck talk yesterday that was titled "Hail King Trump," and we went from we went from like, I don't know, the last numbers of our subscriber thing was like 600 and something, and I woke up this morning and it's down in the 4s now. But it just give me a sanity check, man. I feel like every time I talk about these things, all the people who comment and unsubscribe and just pitch a darn fit, they prove my point. Are we not bordering on worshiping a man as a nation? This is what is happening is straight up idolatry. I mean, I said, I've only seen clips and stuff of all these inauguration celebrations and stuff, and Trump's up on a stage waving a sword around, and I feel like I'm in the freaking Hunger Games, dude. I literally feel like I'm in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Like, this is I think that we have went over the line, and we are actually, as a nation, worshiping this man. I literally feel like you could come out and curse the name of the Messiah, Jesus Christ, and you would get less pushback than if you was to say, hey guys, hey, this Trump's just a guy. Like, just check yourself. Like,
he's about to die on the last decade.
Like this is kind of strange that it's all this power is consolidating around him. Like, just, hey man, I'm not saying that I don't like Donald Trump, that I don't think that he's gonna move the country in a better direction. Yes, I think all of those things, and I think he hopefully will do that, and I think he already has, signed some executive orders, which, by the way, I don't give two craps about your freaking executive order that says you can't call a man a woman and a woman a man and all this transgenderism crap. I ain't doing that anyways. Look, man, I'm trying to stay calm today. Don't. You got to sign an executive order about a stinking transgender. I don't give a crap about that because ain't nobody doing that anyways. That's all just a false narrative that's been pushed forward by less than 1%. No, less than 0.5% of the population. So you signing that don't affect me none. How about you sign some crap that takes this freaking tax burden off of me that almost puts me out of freaking business every year? Like, why don't you do something that freaking matters? But no, you know what? It's bread and circus, man. You don't really actually have to do anything that actually impacts the lives of the people. All you have to do is things that stir them emotionally.
Well, come on, man. He changed the name of the Gulf of Mexico. He's working on that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all you have to do is things that stir people emotionally. That's all you have to do. Now, look, I think that he's obviously better than what we've been having. I mean, it don't potentially. I see you, Chili. I see you. Right? I get it, man. But look, go ahead.
Well, I think he's worse because in some senses, because you called America a monarchy, right?
So in my truck talk, that's what I was also saying. And there are people that will comment and say, yes, we wish we could have Trump for 10 years, 15 years here to lead. See, these peasants, these freaking non-playable characters, that's what they want. They want a king. Because
they've got one, essentially.
You don't deserve freedom if you want a king.
the Trump is worse than Joe Biden or anybody else that we have in this sense. America is an oligarchy. It's controlled by a small group of elite people that you don't see, that's not named Trump, that's not anybody you see in the news. It's affected by some of these billionaires, but really they're just pawns too. There's a small group of people who control what they do, what Trump does. They control the money, they control the banks. It's an oligarchy that runs America, that runs the world, just a small faction. And the deal is, so many people are lulled to sleep and ignore that when that dude is the face. I'm not saying Joe Biden is, this guy, when that's the face. I'm not saying Joe Biden's better than him. People will hear that, and I don't really care.
Oh, yeah,
yeah. But, like, he's worse in that sense that people... He's a pacifying figure. People think he's like this big chaos stirrer and everything. No, he's a pacifier. All he does is make people go, now I can just kick back. Sweet. Trump's in. Like, that's really what he does. And I think that's the point, quite honestly. We've talked about it before. I think you're going to have, that's just a natural human thing, that it would kind of, power would shift back and forth. But it's also a very, very, very smart strategic play to have it shift back and forth.
Yeah.
And I think on local levels, on state levels, on federal levels, that is planned to a large degree to shift at the appropriate times back and forth to continue moving something in the right direction. And you saw it the last 4 years he was president. Did he do a lot of things on the surface that stirred emotion and that seemed good? And, well, that's good. I mean, he's doing this and he's not supporting this. I freaking hate this. And he reversed that. Absolutely he did that. And he's going to do that again. But a lot of things that you didn't like continued during his first 4 years. They absolutely continued and got worse. Now they've got worse under Joe Biden, and they're probably going to get worse in the next 4 years. So in that sense, it's not good, because I think he's a pacifier. But
well, here ultimately, all I'm trying to say here is the danger is when there is someone who is in power whom no one is willing to be critical about, or to be honest about, or to take an honest look at. That's the danger. There's been some weird thoughts I've been having about all this here lately. Like, I don't know, man. It
like
is
what?
I can't go into it right now. It's way too much for the listeners right now.
Well, we have Trump derangement syndrome. Let's also acknowledge that. Our hate for Trump clouds. We can't have an accurate opinion of him.
I think this is where me and some other, like most other people, diverge. Like, I am going to be critical of every single politician that ever exists.
But that's because of TDS.
Trump derangement syndrome?
Really? You have TDS.
Dang. Okay, I didn't know that. But yeah, I am going to be flat out critical of every single politician that ever comes to power. I also love everybody's comments of like, I thought you said our votes didn't count. I really, it's really kind of crazy to me that everybody thinks their vote counts when it goes the way they voted.
When who they voted for gets elected.
I mean, my mind wants to explode.
But that has been a game that the media played to accomplish just that. It's why they question election integrity at certain times. It's why we talked about during the election this time that Trump was going to win, and they were not going to do that this time. You haven't heard the media. They did it in 2016 for a reason. They said Trump, stole the election with Russia in 2016 for a reason. They're not doing it this time. Have you noticed that?
It's weird, dude. I don't know why nobody else sees this as weird, man.
I mean, then in 2020, obviously, it was Trump's turn to say, whoa, you stole that. But anyway.
It's Why?
They're free and fair. They're free and fair.
It's your civic duty.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean,
Free and fair.
obviously these are very, very unpopular things to talk about, but I'm okay with that because we still need to have open and honest conversation about this stuff. And again, at the same time, I don't want to overshadow good things that will come from, hopefully good things that will come from Donald Trump being the president of the United States again. I don't want to overshadow that. Like, I don't only want to focus on the negative, but there are positive things that I think will come and have already happened. Nonetheless, you have to be able to be critical of someone with that much power behind them, and it's like Chili said, it's really freaking a strange thing that all these billionaires and stuff are now uniting behind them, and all these folks are crawfishing, and the American public, their memory is so short. It's like, you got a guy like Mark Zuckerberg he'll crawfish, right, against all the freaking bull crap that he's been a part of. Well, all of y'all, he'll be most people's best buddy from now on. Like, they won't remember any of that, man. It's just strange, dude.
Well, not only is he crawfishing, like he's coming out saying that the Biden administration was pushing them to keep things about the vaccine off Facebook, and like he's turning teetotal the other way.
But he did it.
Yeah, they were indeed doing what y'all thought that they were doing. We just didn't say nothing at the time.
Well, that's the thing. At the time, he denied that they were doing that.
Yeah.
And now he's saying, well, yeah, we did it, but it was their fault.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of pressure. They was putting a lot of pressure on me. A lot of pressure.
So let's be friends again, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, luckily,
this will be a good quote.
Mark the time.
no, you know what, man? We'll just move along from that conversation. Oh, we probably got about 3 people still watching. We really know how to offend our audience, but surely there's some people out there with enough sense to understand what we're trying to say. And that's good enough.
Joe Biden was a great president. That's what we're trying to say.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Well, people just love that weapon that Trump is in their pocket.
Yeah.
Because Trump went to the Detroit Economic Forum and told Ford, like almost verbatim, if y'all go to Mexico, I'm going to put so many tariffs on you, you ain't going to be able to sell nothing. And that's the way he talks. He will tell Iran, we're going to drop the biggest bomb we have on you that's not nuclear. And that will be what he says. And you can pull that weapon and say, Trump said, and the person you allow that to can't allow nothing back, because that's how he talks. And that gets emotion in people. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I got a text the other day while we was in the dungeon. Trump's turning up this inauguration. He just said, drill, baby, drill. Well, by golly, he said that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean.
He's going to get this gas right, son. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. He said it. He gives you a weapon, dude. He gives you that big boy.
I'll tell you what, man.
Magnum.
That's right.
You know what's strikingly pitiful? I mean, it's to me it's strikingly pitiful and pathetic at man's desire to make this life look like it's going to be all hunky-dory. Yeah. I mean, I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. mankind is bent on portraying a picture that this life that we're all living is just going to get real, it's going to be good, it's going to get good, it's going to be good, and it's going to stay good, and it's going to last forever. You hear it in music, you see it in politics, you see it in all aspects of life. Like, that's mankind's desire is to try to create this picture that this life is something that when you really take a step back and you look at it, you realize it's not that. Like, there are good moments in life, right? There are good seasons and good times. But when you step back and take a view of what this is, we are all rotting and dying.
How much of that do you think is mankind versus American, though? Do you think that's world? Like, obviously, mankind's desire to not suffer and to have this, like heaven, basically, right? That's our probably in all of us that God put in us to desire that hope, right, for perfection, for lack of suffering. But I think, I don't know, I've not traveled as much as Chad, but I feel like Americans magnify that it's magnified here in America versus maybe some other countries.
Well, our culture makes it more believable.
Yeah.
That could actually be achieved, right? So that's why we, you're looking at it in music or in art or in politics, it's more believable that we can create this utopia, this eternal utopia for ourselves.
So you strive for it more.
When in reality, we're all literally, our cells are dying and we are rotting alive, headed for the grave. So it does make it more believable here in America. It's a little less believable when you're living under a freaking tarp in a landfill the size of Texas. Over somewhere in Africa. It's a little less believable. But I believe it's all mankind, all unregenerate man, all mankind who has not been made new creatures by the gift of salvation and the regeneration of the Holy Spirit. So all mankind in its natural state, their desire is to picture this life as something that's going to get good, be good, and stay good. And it's so pathetic. It's so sad. But that's what we want, man.
Yeah.
I think that's enough, and I think a lot of these things that we desire are in us innately, partly because mankind was created in the likeness and image of God. So we do desire something like heaven.
Yeah.
We do desire eternal life. God has set eternity in the hearts of men, right? So we don't want to die, but we are dying. Yeah. We want perfection, but it is impossible here in the world because the world has been corrupted by sin. We want a king. We want a king. We desire to be ruled over by a totally righteous and just king. But it's an impossibility. But what we're desiring is actually what Christ Jesus offers us.
And we see that in the Old Testament. The Israelites wanted the king, right? God wasn't enough for them. They wanted a king like the rest of the world. They wanted someone there to rule over them that they could use as their weapon, that they could have this powerful king, and it wasn't enough just to have God. And it's just crazy. You look back at, if you can pull yourself out of kind of your situation and look at what's going on in America, and then if you go read ancient history of the Bible or really anything, and you see how mankind acted the same then as we do now, and the way we live now, we think, we're not acting like that. That's just silly if someone acted like that. But we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, we are. Man has not changed at all. I mean, the deepest desires of every man's heart is what God has offered us through the giving of His Son, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Strange how He created us to desire those things. Desire those things that are unachievable and no one has ever witnessed them. No one's ever witnessed an eternal being here on this earth. No one has ever witnessed a utopia, perpetual utopia. No one has ever got to, be under the rule of a totally righteous and just king. So none of those things have ever been witnessed by man, but we desire those things, and we think that we can bring them about.
Yeah.
In our foolishness, Well, I do want to talk about the ROP course. We had for you guys that don't know, the ROP is a rite of passage is what it stands for. And it's a course that we run here at 307 Project. We've been doing it for this is going on our 3rd year, right?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going on our 3rd
this is year 3.
Yeah. It's 24 hours of continuous movement through the mountains as a team. And man, we have seen this course. It's so simple, man. It's like you have 3 jobs at the rite of passage: eat, drink, and move. Those are your only 3 jobs. And I wanted to, when I had the thought for this course, I wanted to provide something to people that was really, really difficult, so difficult that they wouldn't forget about it and that they would look back on for years and years and look back on the lessons that they learned during that time and hopefully utilize those lessons moving forward in life when life gets hard for them. That's kind of the whole goal of the course. But we ran Team 11 this past weekend, and this was our first winter ROP course. And it was quite dismal out. But I wanted to just kind of recap mainly anything that you guys have. I know, Corn, you had some good feedback at the AAR. And then, Chili, you did too, around what has now been deemed the hour 20 moment. Yeah. I thought that was really cool. So we'll start with that. And, Chili, I just want you to share, the feedback you shared with the team there. So the hour 20 moment, what actually happened is we got to a point where we were deep into the rite of passage, deep into the night. The team thought they had a lot longer left than they actually had. And we got to a point where we were doing a resupply. And on the ROP course, when you get to the resupply, that's pretty much the only place you can quit. You can't really quit out in the middle of the wilderness, right? Because you got to walk your butt out of there anyways. I mean, you can quit, but you got to get out of there. You can't you could just lay down and die, but most people don't want to do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Trying to deal with that.
So we get to a resupply, and these people, the team is like, they're thinking they've got 4 or 5 hours left because the night was so long. That was another thing that was extra hard about this wintertime ROP. The period of darkness, because of the fog and just the clouds.
It was over 13 hours.
Yeah, it was probably 13 hours. It got dark so early, man, and it takes forever to get light. So that's a long, long night versus a summer, summer class. I mean, in the middle of the summer, you're getting like a 7-hour period of darkness. So nearly double. But But man, they thought they had 3 or 4 hours left, and they get to this resupply. And I wanted some quitters at this resupply because I'll be honest with you, I was ticked because they just kind of shut down going through the wormhole. They weren't talking much. They were in survival mode, right? And the standard at the ROP isn't just to survive it. I mean, we want to see you thrive out there. We want to see you really lean into each other and encourage each other, especially when it gets really difficult. But they had kind of just shut down, and that ticked me off. So I was even feeding into their thoughts about, oh, crap, we got 3 or 4 hours left. I was going right along with it. I told Chili before we got down in that resupply, I said, I'm going to try to get me some quitters down here. Let's see what I can do. And so I started, working my mind games, and three team members decided they were going to quit. You son of a gun talked 2 of them out of it.
I'm a proctor, Bob.
Ticked me off.
Tell him, Blake.
That was good.
I had 3 quitters, and CB talked 2 of them out of it. But one of them, thank goodness I got one. I would have been ticked if I wouldn't have got one single quitter down there. But, buddy, I got one. He just flat out, he said, nah, I am fed up with this crap. They wasn't no talking him out of it. The other 2, Shane, he came up to us and said, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And Chili said, you sure that's your answer?
He said, no.
He said, no, I don't really think it is. Chili pulled that. Well, who wants to be a millionaire or whatever? Is that your final answer?
Regis.
See, man, you guys, man. Y'all, if you guys ever do the ROP course, you're lucky you got cornbread and chili.
Well, I wanted to know if he was sure. Turns out he wasn't.
He wasn't sure about it, was he? And then our other guy, Brandon, he didn't decide to keep going until he had like 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
I'm talking about it was down to the wire, and he picks his pack up, throws his pack on, and they get ready to move again. And I asked him, I said, how much time y'all think you got left? And they said, 3 hours. Some of them said 4 hours. I said, you got 1 hour and 20 minutes left. And boy, that just changed everything.
Oh, they went to talking and everything.
I mean, they moved faster. They talked. They just had they were having a grand old time.
It made the leg finisher a totally different section.
I'm talking about they had a grand old time after that, you know. So, Chili, you gave us some good feedback. That 1 hour and 20 minute moment, it was a pretty cool moment, and I hope a good lesson learned from them. But I want you to say your piece on that, man.
Well, I just notice every time we do this, whatever the indication is that you're almost done, whether it's depending on when you start, the sun might be starting to peek out, or you start to, in the summer, you start to hear them birds start to go, it's like any little indicate, or you just flat out tell them like, y'all idiots almost quit. You have 1 hour and 20 left. Whatever it is, you get this piece of information that you're like, oh my gosh, this is almost done. Because that's the thing about the ROP course is, unless you get that indication, you don't know. So you might as well just be hiking forever. And I don't know. I think that's how actual real life adversity and challenges and issues you have to deal with, that's how they seem. Like they will go on forever. I mean, you even start to tell yourself that sometimes. Like, I'm got this sickness maybe, like, or some kind of physical ailment, and you go, I will deal with this forever, and it will never change. But sometimes it gets worse for a minute, but it will change. Like, it's gonna change.
It'll change or kill you.
Yeah, like
it's gonna end.
Like that's the one thing that God designed the world in a way that it does not stay stagnant. I mean, it might get worse for a time. Yeah. So it's not all rainbows, but like it will not stay the same. That is one thing you can guarantee. But I think that happens on every rock course. People get to that deep point in the night and they're like, this will never end. This will never change. I'm hurting so bad. This will never change. So they quit. And I just noticed that once you get that indication, whether it's the birds chirping and you're sure, oh, it's getting real close, or you get told there's an hour left, or you see the sun poking out, you almost couldn't pay anybody to quit at that point.
Yeah.
Like you almost literally could. You could have told them there's an hour left. Now I want all like.
I'll refund you.
I'll refund your money. Quit. You wouldn't do it.
You're right.
You would not.
They
do
would
it.
not a one of them.
You would go. I am not quitting. And it's so funny because you're in the exact same time. You're in the exact same feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You hurt just the same. You have went through the same thing. You're like nothing. Nothing's different other than a piece of information, and you go from dying to quit to couldn't be paid to. And I think, I'm the same way that, if I'm running a race or doing anything, like you get some information that's like, hey, this is almost, it's like, yeah, you start to, it does change how you operate and changes how, like, fast you
could endure.
Yeah, like fast you move. And I hate that I'm that way because I think every time there's this situation like this in the rob course, it exposes everybody who's on that course that they will act different when they have knowledge that it's almost over.
Mm-hmm.
But the danger in that is really the reason you do any of this stuff is to help you get through life, to train for life. And the danger in operating that way is you get used to, okay, I'll get through this and I'll figure out when it's almost done, and then I can relax and I can get through this, and that'll help me not quit. And you don't get that in anything else. Like when you get diagnosed with cancer, you don't get told for sure, hey, this is going to be over soon. Like, yeah, you're going through operations and taking chemo and you're hoping and everything, but you don't freaking know, dude. You never know. Or your child is going through something crazy, or they get addicted to drugs and you're having to watch that and help them deal with it. You don't get the dang notice in the mail that says, hey, in 3 days they're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't get that. So you can't get used to that and start to operate differently just because you get news like that. That's one thing I need to work on is like, myself, when you're doing something and you're doing a race or whatever and you're like, man, this is almost over. Like I feel better now, like you have to avoid that, and you have to avoid the moments when it gets really hard, just looking for, some indication that it's almost over, and just, changing the way you operate based on that information is really bad practice,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, the goal is to hone your mind down and train your mind to the point that you can just do what you can do.
Yeah.
Every single moment. And every single person is going to have a breaking point. Even I do. This is in like total alignment with when I go and speak and I talk about how the ability to stay present is a superpower. But everyone has a breaking point, but it is to try to move that breaking point further and further and further down the line.
Do you think
that's why we train?
The breaking point has to do with how much is left, like either not knowing or knowing how much is left? Because like at Cocodona, you think about the time that you've talked about where I was running with you, and like you've ran that far before, but you had never had that much left to run. And so
yeah, it could. It could be the knowledge of how much is left, or it could be the knowledge of not, or the lack of knowledge about how much is left.
Yeah,
right?
not knowing how much is left that's a real killer, man.
I would say that's probably worse. Not knowing. If you want to tie it to a running example, that's why people's nerves get so shot at these last man standing races. I mean, people's nerves just get shot out at these things.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, not knowing, there's no cap. Like even if you're just dead, I mean, just dead to the world at 100 miles into a 250-mile race, you know it's 150 and it won't be a step over that that's left.
Yeah.
If you're in something that you don't know when it ends, your mind can make you think it's 1,000,000 miles left.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. It's irrational. You know it's not that far, but there's no cap. You can't go 150 and I'm done.
Yeah.
It might be 150 and you're done. Might be 100, or it could be 300, and you're just screwed. You know.
Yeah, and at the rite of passage, they know it's 24 hours, but they don't have any timekeeping devices.
Where they're at in that.
They don't know where they're at in that whole process. But yeah, we that's why we train, like Chili said, is to just kind of hone our mind in and move that breaking point further and further ahead to where you can keep operating for longer and longer, doing everything that you can, because the moment that you allow yourself to extend yourself, your mind, overextend your mind, son, you just fall apart. You start wanting to quit, and it was a great lesson though, man. I mean, it was a great lesson even for the guy that quit. Like,
Yeah.
holy crap, dude, I just did 23 hours in this miserable, cold. We had fog the entire time. We never saw the sun. I just did 23 hours for nothing.
Yeah. Well, what it reveals about yourself is that you're willing to give your best or to operate to a standard when you know it will be easy.
Yeah.
That's what it reveals. It's like you're really only willing to really commit to doing that when you know you're almost done or it won't hurt too bad. You're not willing to do that when it might get real bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're only willing to do it if you're like, well, it's still, I mean, this hour 20 is still going to be like, I still got to do it. And I'm, they're all sitting there thinking, well, this, but they're like, but I can do that.
Well, that high that they were on didn't last but about 10 minutes either.
Well, yeah, because then you start walking again. You're like, shoot.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't long. They was all just quiet. It did give them a little bit of a boost.
Like, I am still doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chili made a good point in saying that you couldn't have paid them to quit.
Oh, yeah, no.
At that point, that's the big,
You crazy? I got an hour left.
Yeah. I didn't do all this for nothing, And Cornbread, you talked about just kind of the lifeblood of the team and who those people were and how that was enough to carry them through, but I thought your feedback was really good too, man. So what did you think about that team, and what you got to add to it?
The team in particular, y'all probably heard me say it. I know me and Chili talked about it a little bit. Like I kept telling them, y'all are the drabbest team I've ever been a part of. I mean, they all just seemed from the very beginning, we're going to put our heads down and we're going to push through, as basically as individuals, but we're here together. But I'm a firm believer that grit alone is only going to take you so far. If you're just going solely off grit, you're not going to go nowhere near as far as if you could use the assets you already showed up with. It seems like a lot of people show up to these courses just expecting to be worn down to a nub and then come up with some epiphany of who they're going to be or who they are. It seems to me like some of those people wait for that to happen. And I don't know if the majority of that team was waiting for that to happen or not, but so the guys that chose to use their assets, whether they knew they were doing it or not, became the lifeblood of the team, I believe. Mm-hmm. And the other individuals, there was no women on this team, by the way, and I found that very interesting that happened with this team with no women being on it. But the guys that chose to do that became the lifeblood of the team. You had a guy that had done some 29029, and he was using, I believe, experience from that, being around other individuals, the experience at his job. Another guy, Derek, he gave his testimony just about the entire ROP course. And that was really awesome and powerful, kept the people around him talking about the Lord. Keith, I believe, used a lot of his physical ability and talking to other people about physicality and from his business's experience through that. And people latched on and they listened to Keith like they wanted to do what Keith said. Ethan, I know he was using his experience from the Army, and Kyle, I don't think Kyle knew he was doing this, but his personality was real infectious, and he didn't mind saying whatever to anybody. And he probably gave the most encouragement out of everybody. So those guys become the lifeblood of the team, and I think it helped them all, combined with the grit that they decided they was going to use to get to the end. So they chose to use their assets that they showed up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I use Ethan as a specific example. I had a talk with Ethan just before it got dark. And I told him, I said, look here, Ethan, because you could tell he had been holding way, way back, not using what he had, right? We've all got something to offer, you know, in all these different environments in our life, whether it's with our local congregation and within the body of Christ, whether it's in your workplace, skills-wise. We've all got something to offer. We've all got some raw material we can offer up, but, you know, Ethan had a lot more than just raw material because he spent 12 years in the Army. He deployed to some really ugly places, and, you know, he's went through a lot of suffering, had a lot of injuries and stuff that he's had to work through. And I kept watching him, waiting for him to step up and, you know, bring forth his knowledge. I know he knows how a formation is supposed to look. I know he knows how to do a head count. Like, I know he knows how to do all these things, but he wasn't really stepping up. And I finally said, look, Ethan, you need to share with this team everything that you know. I was like, you understand it's going to take that for this team to get through this, right? And he said, well, you know, I I didn't want to cheat anybody else out of the opportunity to step up, you know? So I'm you know, I said, no, buddy, you don't understand. Like, you ain't cheating nobody out of nothing. It's going to take every single person giving everything that they have to offer in order to get the most out of this team, you know? And so when I told him that and explained that to him, that's when he started doing that, you know? He was talking to Keith about formations and head counts, and he was really working with his squad leader on you know, being his squad leader's right-hand man, like stuff you knew he learned during his military career. But it's almost like, I mean, for him particularly, it's like he was waiting for someone to give him permission.
Well, that's a common thing, too, on courses. Like, even at the Proving Ground, people will say, well, I don't want to cheat so-and-so. You know, somebody out of the opportunity to learn how to lead or to learn. But
you don't understand, buddy. This is going to be hard.
Yeah, especially at the ROP. I mean, and really with all the courses. But if you're good at something and you show up to train as a team, or whether it's a real-life mission or a training mission, I think you ought to just step into what it is that you're good at and get better at it, and then let the other people step into what they're good at and let them get better at it. Why would you take someone who is, I mean, maybe if they're trying to work on leadership, but if they're not a natural leader, like that's not what they do, don't put them in that role. Like, let them serve what they are.
Yeah. I think some people make a mistake too, and they think, like, if I become the leader of this team, that takes away anybody else's opportunity to lead. Yeah. Well, that's not true. I mean, you can, there's only going to be one, like in your squad, there's one squad leader. Yeah. But that doesn't mean other people in that squad can't, like work on leadership, if you want to say that, or like be a leader in their own right. Like, no, you're not like you don't have 2 squad leaders, but you can. It doesn't null other people's ability to work on that.
Yeah.
But so that's a mistake. I think.
Yeah. Everybody at the proving grounds, the ROP course, everybody has the opportunity to lead in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, man, is I guess for you guys that are listening is don't wait for somebody to give you permission to step up and do what you know you're going to be able to do well, right? Don't wait for that. Just when you enter that environment and you see a need, you see a place that you can fill that you know you're going to be good at it, man, just step in there and just go for it. Don't wait for somebody to tell you.
Right.
I think that's just sums it up. And what this created, because so many guys did hold back, either because they felt like they didn't want to cheat somebody out or because they just chose to go internal and go into survival mode, for whatever reason, because so many guys did hold back, honestly, this Team 11, did not get everything they could have gotten out of this course.
Yeah.
They didn't get it, flat out. They as a team left a lot on the table. They really did.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, that's sad to me. You guys made a huge investment to come out and do this, and your time, your money, and they're listening to this probably and thinking, well, Chad, I thought, it was a great experience for me. And yeah, it was. I understand every one of you guys learned something while you were out there. I understand you guys built relationships. I understand you guys did form a team. But what I want you to know is there was more you could have gotten out of it. And you can't really understand that until you are a part of that. And we get to be a part of it all the time because we get to run these teams, month after month after month. And, man, when you see a team that doesn't leave anything on the table, and now I know Chili would say there's always things that they could have done better, and I agree with that too. There's always little tweaks that could be made. But as a whole, when you see a team when everybody, or at least 90% of people, are really just engaged and really just have thrown their full self into it, it almost, for me as an instructor, it almost leaves me speechless at the end. I'm just like, yep, that's what we came here for. I don't need to tell you anything. You just got to experience it, Right. That's what we came here for, Yeah.
They started out with a real good plan on movement, and I honestly thought they was probably going to go further than any team I had seen. When they was moving really well when I tagged in, and that grit only took them so far, man. And without the encouragement and the whole team being a whole team, man, it slowed down really, really fast.
Isn't it remarkable how similar the distances has all been?
It's wild, man. It is.
Yeah. it is.
It's been within a mile or two.
Yeah.
Out of 11 teams and all different conditions too. We've had from near perfect conditions to wet, nasty rain to extreme heat, and every one of them have been like within just a few miles of each other. That is crazy. I've never considered that really.
Yeah. It is wild. Yeah. Like 11 teams, and I would say what's the biggest difference, or what the distance between the least miles and the most? 2 or 3?
3 miles.
That's pretty dang close.
That's close. Yeah, for sure. Over the course of 24 hours. Right. So this advanced ROP course that's coming up in March, right, Chili?
Yeah. 7 through 9.
There's an advanced ROP course coming up. We've got 10 team members who are going to be a part of the advanced ROP course. I would potentially take 1 or 2 more to be a part of that team. We're calling it capped at 10, but if some of you guys listening and you've done the ROP course before, if you would really want to be a part of this, you can send an email. Would potentially take another 1 or 2 more. this is going to throw in just a whole nother dynamic and I'm going to tell you on this one, buddy, if everybody doesn't show up and give all they got, it's gonna be exposed real quick, and things aren't going to go the way they want it to go. It's going to take everything that everybody's got from the beginning to the end, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens out there on this one.
Yeah,
because it's a whole nother level of responsibility at the advanced drop course. Like it's no longer just I can put my head down and get through it. It's gonna be big, son.
It's gonna be real big.
Well, it was cool on this last drop too. We had Nick and Barry.
I want to talk about that too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come back and finish
Thank you, Blake.
Come back
That
and
was
finish.
Cool. I like both of them a lot. And when I saw them again, I was excited. And then I could tell they were both nervous.
Yeah.
On Friday.
Yeah, because they knew what was about to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say for some people it would be harder coming back to do it a second time.
Well, especially if you didn't finish.
Yes.
But having said that, I thought they both did really, really well.
Made some adaptations. We got no bag Barry. He come back without a pack. He just toted his stuff.
He had that counterweight on that backwards fanny pack.
Yeah.
So I don't remember how old Barry is. Does anybody know? I mean, he's in his 60s,
I think
right?
he's 62, ain't he?
I don't know. I think he may be mid to upper 60s.
Yeah, I know he
don't seem it, but
he's in his 60s, and so
Mid.
yeah, it was remarkable. And Nick, Nick went from not finishing to, I mean, I see Nick deep into the night carrying 2 packs.
Yeah.
Carrying the burden.
Yeah.
Like just carrying this massive load that he don't have to carry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, this dude went from not being able to finish this thing to like taking on extra.
Yeah.
And getting it done. I mean, that was.
Yeah, and
That
they were
was
both
something else.
on the same team, right? And
Yeah.
quit at the same place.
Same place.
And came back at the same team and finished
cool.
it together.
That's real cool.
Dude, I cannot imagine how it felt for them when they left that spot that they had quit at previous. Like how that felt. Man, okay. I've passed the point that I couldn't make it past less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just such a cool indicator of growth, That's another cool thing about the ROP course. There have been a lot of people who have quit. I mean, there's been dozens and dozens of people that have quit, but these 2 guys are the only ones who have rogered up to come back and do it again and complete it well.
Yeah. They both
Complete it
did.
well.
Yeah, they did real good.
Yeah.
Well, CB, I'm looking forward to our Patreon question here in
Are
just
you?
a minute.
You're going to like it, too.
Before we
bud.
get started, this episode is brought to you by our partner at Drink HOIST. Big announcement for HOIST. HOIST is now in all Publix grocery stores.
Every one of them.
So I'm going to leave here and go to Publix, my Publix. I'm going to see if I can get some HOIST in there.
Yeah.
I mean, here in Rome, Publix is the best grocery store that we have. So, HOIST is now in all Publix. You guys check them out. If you do any shopping at Publix, go in there and get you a bottle of HOIST now, or a case of HOIST next time you're in there. If you don't shop at Publix, you can go to drinkhoist.com and you can order this stuff by the case. We have cases of it sitting around here that we just pull off of it all the time. This is their new flavor, Fruit Punch, 5-star punch. Now, you'll notice this is clear. That's because there's no dyes or coloring in this. There are also no preservatives in HOIST. So if you open this up and you don't drink it all and you leave it sitting outside or sitting around for, a while, you're going to open it back up and it's going to have mold in it because there ain't no preservatives in it, which we like. We've been using HOIST for years now. We use it extensively at the rite of passage, at the proving grounds, on our own personal races. I used it when I was running Cocodona and many other races. We have HOIST out at our trail races that we put on, and we have just run this through the mill, right? We have used HOIST in so many different environments over a long period of time. And let me tell you, it is a wonderful, wonderful product. It hydrates you better than water. It tastes good, and it sits well with your stomach, which any of you guys that do any ultra running or even have done the ROP course, any sort of endurance sports, you understand how important it is to have a hydration supplement that isn't going to upset your stomach. Because if your stomach goes down, you're out of the race, man. So I promise you, you won't be disappointed with it. Made right here in the USA. Awesome people, awesome product. Drink HOIST. It's IV level hydration. Check them out at drinkhoist.com. If you have been a fan of the podcast for a while or you get anything out of these shows, one way that you can give back and support this show is to shop with the people who help support the show financially, and Drink HOIST is one of them. So, again, drinkhoist.com. HOIST, thank you for making this episode possible. Patreon question, CB.
Patreon question of the week. This comes from Wesley. Patreon question of the week. CB, why is the 7.3 power diesel better than a 5.9 Cummins, coming from a guy who can't afford either?
He asked you that, CB?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, he did.
He
did.
knows. He know you could go out there and put your dang foot on the throttle of your truck and hold it for a year, and you ain't putting more power to any diesel engine than I have in 4 weeks of my lifetime.
Yeah, I think
He
it's
knows a
weak.
diesel man when he hears a diesel man. But if you would like to answer it first, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear what you have to say since he asked you the question. I mean,
Well, I mean, starting off, the cylinder configuration's different anyway. So a 7.3 is 8-cylinder diesel. A 5.9 is inline 6 diesel. But now,
that's weak.
exactly. So the power stroke, like out the box, is going to be like 275 horsepower, like 525 foot-pounds of torque. The Cummins is going to be a little bit less than that. It's going to cost you less money to put into that power stroke if you want more horsepower. But now you can probably get more horsepower out of that Cummins for a lot more money. The Cummins is going to be better on fuel. If you're one of those San Francisco type people and you're worried about fuel, go on ahead and go with your Cummins. And somebody's going to say, well, the Cummins is going to last longer. Yeah, because it ain't got now the power that the Power Stroke does. That's pure just, we're from America, and we about to tear some stuff up.
Chad tries to leave that Dodge with me when he needs the Suburban, and I just refuse to drive it anymore. Everything won't get out of its own way.
And also, look.
It is a slug.
You take the dang motor and look at what truck they live in. So you could paint a dang turd gold.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you just got a gold turd.
Yeah.
all them Fords look better than all those Dodges.
Yeah. Now I do like the new Dodge. The newer Dodges do look good.
I don't like any of the new trucks.
I like them Dodges if they're jacked up and they got a flat bed and a big old bull bar on the front and look like they about to go weld on the pipeline.
Yeah.
Those look
For
good.
Trump.
Yeah, for Trump drill. If they down with drilling, they
Drill,
look pretty
baby.
good.
Well, look, man, that the 7.3 liter Power Stroke diesel is a legendary engine. By the way, you gave wrong information there. It costs less money to make more horsepower in the Cummins than it takes to make horsepower in the 7.3. I can do things to that Cummins engine without spending any money that will give it much more horsepower. No tuner, no
Ask
nothing.
him what he could do.
You can do that with the Power Stroke and get up to 500 horsepower. You're going to have to get into that Cummins to get that.
No, you know what you'd have to do? You'd have to put a 7.3 in it.
You're going to have to put a 7.3 in that 5.9 to make it. You can do that with that Power Stroke and get up to 500 horsepower.
What do you do?
To get into that Cummins,
No.
you're going to have to get inside the engine.
No, you don't. All I have to do is
Tell
do
him,
something
Chili.
with the throttle body.
Tell him, Chili.
All he's got to do
To
is
get 500 horsepower just to the throttle body.
Yeah, he just takes a screw out of the throttle body.
Well, when we're done
like a
with
governor.
this, when we're done with this, we're going to do that in the parking lot. Is that what you drove
Yeah,
there? Or did you drive
that's
the
what I
Land
drove.
Cruiser?
Yeah, no, I don't want that Dodge to make any more power. The reason that both those engines last so long is because they are underpowered and overbuilt. They can handle a lot more power than they make, and that's they're just overbuilt. They're just over-engineered.
You're right.
And the reason that they last so long is because they don't make a lot of power.
Right.
And so if you start putting these tuners and these stuff on either one of those engines, like Brooks' truck has a tuner on it, but we just run it on the stock settings because you start putting power to them, and then you're sacrificing the reliability, which is the reason why people seek those engines out so much, right? The thing that I like about the Cummins, when you open the hood on the Ford, the 7.3, it looks like they have piled 10 pounds of crap in a 8-pound bag. I'm talking about that motor is stuffed in there. You can't get to nothing.
So big.
You open the hood on that Dodge and that inline Cummins, it's just like an old tractor motor, man. You can see everything. Also, on the Dodge that I have, the 98, there's no ECU. There's no electronics. Versus on the 7.3, there is electronics, ECU, and stuff like that. So I like that about my Cummins. The Ford does look better in terms of the interior of them Dodges is crap.
Well,
the plastic in there, like on the dash and it is so brittle and crappy. I mean, the truck just falls apart around the engine. The front end on a Dodge is supposedly terrible. Now mine pops and makes some racket every now and then, but it still runs straight.
Right.
So, but I've heard the front end is one of the first things to go on that.
And transmission if it's automatic.
So I've got a 5-speed, and Dodge transmissions, automatic transmissions are known to be absolutely crap, just terrible.
About as bad as a Chevrolet.
But what I like about the Cummins better is, I think the one thing I like about it that is just the simplicity and the just the accessibility of you can get to the turbo, you can get to all the wear and tear components, and it's really easy to access them and work on that thing if you're going to work on it out there in your driveway or something.
Well, that's important for a man that works on cars as much as you do. As much as you work on your own stuff.
Well, I used to work
that
on...
That is real important.
I actually used to work on my own cars quite a bit. I changed the whole engine out of my Toyota. Look.
You ain't turned a wrench on a car, and I don't know how long.
It was just last week. What he had to do something to Brooks'
Valve
car or something.
cover
He
gasket.
said I was standing there and I thought to myself, look, I ain't no mechanic.
I used to be a mechanic, though.
I'll pay somebody to do that.
Look, what y'all
But that's what I like about that Dodge. If you got to get in there and get to that turbo.
What y'all don't understand about me, I was poor for a long, long time, all right?
And you ain't no more.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was a time, let me tell you how poor I was, okay? I lived for years in a shack that was 500 square feet with my wife. And my rent was $500 a month.
That's high for that.
This was a shack behind somebody's house. It did not have central heating or air. The only heat it had was a pot, a kerosene pot furnace. And it was this big black box, and it had a pod in it.
Snuff you out.
Yeah, okay. And kerosene would come out of a tank and drip into this pot, and you would light it, and it would burn a flame. And you saw it, Blake. I never seen another heater like it. I don't know when this thing was invented.
I ain't never seen one of them.
So it would build up all this soot in this pot. Well, one day, this thing was so old I think this little shack was built in the 40s. The line that the kerosene ran through, it busted a leak, but where it passed through the wall. So we kept smelling kerosene. We thought something was wrong with the heater. We thought it was leaking kerosene, you know. So the landlord came in there with a shop vac, and he said, well, it probably just needs to be cleaned out. Let's clean this pot out. He stuck that shop vac down into that kerosene pot and tried to suck all that soot out. Well, he didn't have a filter in the shop vac. And it, in one instant, filled this entire shack up with kerosene soot. And everything in that whole place was covered in a layer of black kerosene soot. All right? Let me tell you how poor I was. I told that fella right then, I said, look, now this was a job like you needed to call out like Serve Pro. You needed to call like a sure enough disaster response team out here to handle this. I said, look here, fella, I'm so poor. If you will give me 1 month's free rent, I will clean this whole place. And so for about a whole week, I sat in that place and I scrubbed every surface, wall, everything with this some sort of power cleaner that we bought at the dollar store that burned my lungs. I mean, I couldn't breathe right for a month after doing this. I cleaned this whole place for 1 month's free rent. Then afterwards realized that the line was leaking. The whole all the wood in the wall had soaked in kerosene. So I lived for another few years smelling kerosene fumes every day. Finally, I got immune to it. I couldn't smell it anymore, but if I had a guest over, they couldn't hardly stay in the house on account of the smell of the kerosene in the walls of this place. That's how poor I used to be.
All the while eating deer meat and working on his own vehicles.
That was my life, you know, for a long, long time. But
that was a nice place. You make that place sound worse than it was.
But the fact of the matter is, I'm not poor anymore. And so
now you got that deal.
If something breaks on my daggone car, I'm going to take it to somebody and say, hey, fix this thing.
Ain't nobody working on a car at the deal.
Yeah. I'm going to say, fix this son of a gun, you know. Which, by the way, exciting news. The 100 Series Land Cruiser is with my friend Daniel up at TLC 4x4. And they getting a game plan on that song.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be big. The 100 Series is at TLC 4x4 for a restoration, resto mod 4x4 coming back like this. Raining down on the heavens. Like a mallard dog. So, that being said, if I ever do get poor again, I want a dang truck that I'm able to work on.
I got you.
You know? So that's your deal right there.
There you go, Wesley.
We got anything in the news today other than the snow?
Well, Brooke's not here. Donald Trump's inaugurated. You will not be seeing Brooke anymore on the podcast.
That's true.
Her last episode was sometime was sometime earlier this month. I hope you've got a whole backlog of episodes if you enjoyed having a woman on the show. In other news, Theo Vaughn fell out of a chair at Donald Trump's inauguration. Did you see that? I thought that was really funny.
That was funny.
Barron Trump whispered expletives to Joe Biden when he shook his hand.
He told him I'll beat the brakes off of you.
Melania Trump had that
Undertaker hat on.
Oh, dude, so I saw pictures of that. I was going to ask y'all. Dude, that hat. Now, that was some swag right there, son.
Yeah, she was
I mean, that
busting it
joker got some swag right there.
Yeah. Yeah, she was doing it for real.
Who gets to go to the inauguration? I mean, all these people, these UFC fighters and comedians.
Got to be invited.
Got to be part of the Hunger Games, man.
Isn't that crazy?
You got to be the Hunger Games, brother. Yeah.
I seen Conor McGregor was there.
Was he?
The crap was he there? He ain't even from this country.
Come from Ireland.
Well,
Look, Irish.
anyway, I mean, I just want to give that update on the podcast, and Trump is inaugurated. I mean, that's kind of big news, you know. He's already signed a bunch of executive orders, peace in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah. It's already better.
Yep.
It's already better.
Now, you said local news got ruined by the snow, but I have local news.
Okay, we'll bust it off.
Well, the GBI,
Georgia Bureau of Investigation.
they're investigating a murder in Ringgold. Now, that's local.
Do tell more.
That's
What county is Ringgold?
It's Walker, ain't it?
yeah.
Yeah. That's like Chattooga County's.
Big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ringgold's good. That's good area. Really?
You got any details on the?
Well, no, they just. I mean, this is local news. It's very local
Yeah.
to me. You know, they found a lady just by a creek on an embankment.
Was she dead?
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I mean that's big news.
So they allowing somebody killed her?
Yeah, I mean there's a
That's awful.
well, yeah, but I wanted to know. I mean, how do you not know about that? It's local news.
I ain't heard nothing of it.
He don't live up there.
Nothing. I ain't heard nothing of that. They didn't post it on the DNR webpage.
It'll be different here soon.
By the way, that's Catoosa County.
Is it Catoosa?
That's Catoosa County. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I never even heard of Catoosa
That's
County.
Catoosa County.
Yeah.
Well, look, for all of you guys listening, if you want to go and live in a place where there ain't no law or nothing, you go to Chattooga County, Walker County, or it sounds like Catoosa County.
Yeah.
Well, things about to change in Chattooga, ain't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. They about to. Yeah.
I mean, we were out on the ROP course, and Creamy Pepe looked at me, and he said, "Look at him, he's out of it. Look at him." Creamy Pepe said, "I said, Creamy Pepe, you don't drive this van over here to this other spot." He looked at me. He said, "I don't even think I can legally drive this vehicle." I said, and Big Jeff looked at Creamy Pepe and he said, "Brother, there ain't no law around here. When you're in Chattooga County, Walker County, look, you don't need a driver's license. You don't need registration. You don't need nothing."
That's right.
That I'm telling you, there's some wild places out there. I mean,
Absolutely.
Creamy Pepe like to have a darn heart attack down there at the mill.
What does creamy peppy mean?
Wait. Till
Y'all hadn't figured that out yet? Oh boy, it's big.
Chili has an interpretation of it.
Yeah, milk weenie. I think that's what it means in Spanish.
Wow.
Oh
I can't
man.
wait till he sees one of them creek gatherings in the summertime.
Oh dude.
That's gonna be awesome.
He getting cultured.
There's some wild stuff goes on down there at the mill. That's Walker County, right?
Manning Mill.
You go into
Actually-
Walker County before you get there for sure.
It's
Yeah.
close. It's somewhere
Up
right
on top
on the
of that
line.
ridge is definitely Walker County.
There was some coon hunters out there when we left, and they had a dog treed across the river there.
Yeah, and them hedges, you know they had a possum.
Yep. So I told him, I said, "Y'all got the dog over here?" He said, "Yeah, he's treed," and the guy pulled out. The guy was sitting in the driver's seat of the truck that I was talking to. I said, "Well, you gonna go get that dog?" He said, "No, buddy, I got my boys over. My boys are in there right now. I sent them in there to get him." And then I had to explain to Chili, that's how coon hunting works. Anytime you see a group of people out coon hunting, there's one guy in the truck that owns the dogs, and he's the money man.
Yeah.
He's got
And,
minions.
And he's got minions that he sends out to get that dog. He don't go to get the dog, right? He just listens to the dog.
Yeah.
I didn't know
heard
that's how
that
it
guy
worked.
talk differently than how you just interpreted them.
Oh no, I'm gonna tell you another. I'm gonna tell you. You might have
okay.
heard one of the other guys. You didn't hear the money man.
There was a lot of them.
The money man on a coon hunt. The guy that don't leave the truck. He's usually the only one that can actually speak English, like speak real language, right? The minions, there ain't no telling what they're about to say.
Yeah.
And so we go on by them, and we're walking down the road, and here they come up with their truck. They had got their dog, and they pulled up beside me, because I told the guy, I said, yeah, I'm an old coon hunter and this and that. And he said, I said, did he have him in there? He said they had him, but they had the wrong kind.
I knew it.
Had a possum
I
in their
knew
tree.
it when I allowed them
That was
lights
an
where they
English.
was.
That was an English dog
There
too.
you go.
And
Of course, they had a possum.
and one of the minions that was in the passenger seat, then he spoke up and he said, "Yeah, it got a soaking wet in there." I said, man, you didn't have no waders on? He said, yeah, my feet slipped off, fell right in that creek. And I said, dang. And the other minion in the back seat was buck naked. He had done stripped out of all his clothes and was sitting back there buck naked.
He fell in the creek, too.
He fell in the creek, too. He sure did.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
That creek was deep, though.
That area is the best place in the world.
It's a wild place, man.
Best place in the world.
I'm talking about it's a wild place. There's legit ain't no law out there.
Oh, no.
People think we're joking.
Yeah.
There ain't no law out there.
Villanelle.
Yeah, it's a wild place. Well, that's all we got from the news today, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, not much.
Well,
Need to get them super chats.
We'll get
super
'em.
chats. All right, I'm gonna take a pee real quick.
God,
Dude, that jerk was hard up.
him impersonating that is early contender for moment of the year.
Yeah, I totally agree.
That's
I totally agree.
We had Matt come in at $4.99. Trump is in office almost 2 days, and these jokers already attacking him. The liberal cancer goes deep.
Yep. Thank you, Matt.
Marty Bingham, $4.99. Good morning. I have grown fond of you guys over time. I'm going to be more supportive and respectful with less insult humor moving forward.
What the heck, Marty?
I thought you was doing a good job, Marty.
We had Deplorable Lawn Guy, $9.99. Blessings and prosperity to the 3 of 7 crew. Really enjoy the Monday lessons. Very thankful for this channel. P.S. Still waiting to see Hecock 45 whoop up on chat.
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, let's go see Hickok, man.
Thank you, DLG.
We had Brett Childers come in at $99.99.
What the crap,
Good
Brett?
night.
I just packed him an order, too.
Did you?
Yeah.
He said, I have a challenge for you, men. Long drive competition at Top Golf, sponsored by Steadfast Construction.
Oh, yeah. Y'all don't want none of that.
Winner takes home the trophy. Worst drive punishment to be determined. If you're scared, get in my pocket and I'll carry you around.
Corn, I can't hit it as straight as you, but I will hit it further.
You think so?
My club speed's freaking 200 miles an hour. Unheard of.
The only problem is all those places where Top Golf is at are dumps, man.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's
Like,
one in
they are-
Chattanooga.
Yeah, it's
Is
a
it-
dump.
It's just rough. I mean, just rough getting there. The traffic and whatnot. I went to a Top Golf one time, and they had all kinds of pride flags up inside that thing.
Well, they won't know
Oh,
more.
you have been to one?
Yeah.
Pride's banned now.
I went to the one in I went to the
Donald Trump signed an executive order banning that Pride.
I went to the one in I think it's Alpharetta. Yeah.
Yeah.
We could do a long drive competition at Prospect Road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you got that rangefinder. You could hit the ball and see how far it went.
Yeah.
Oh, I would,
allow it.
dude. Crush it.
Think about
We
it.
may have to do that. That'd be a good video.
It would. It would.
Yeah. Marty Bingham, $4.99. When I make a change, there's no going back. I hope you like the new me.
Dang, Marty.
Thank you.
About time you made a change, you old freaking geezer.
Oh well, no. His change is that he's not gonna, hit you with insults anymore.
Well, he better daggone do something. A geriatric.
And I think it was kind of contingent on you being respectful and acquiescing to that as well.
Well, his third one coming at $9.99. He said, "Sorry, I can't do it. By the way, I always make 3 posts, so Redbeard, the Lord Butticus can keep up. Stand by for more shenanigans."
Oh,
Is Marty coming to the proving grounds?
I don't know. He's already done the proving ground.
Oh, yeah, he has, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we first saw him compete in his overalls. Yeah, that's right. Yep.
he might be at the racing march then.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he did say he was coming to the.
That'd be good.
He better.
Tell you what, I'm looking forward to this proving grounds.
Yeah, me too.
Marty, you just need to ride up there to the proving grounds and say hello, man.
You know he will.
Yell
He
at the
just will.
students for a little bit.
He just lives right next door.
Yeah, Marty, come out to the proving grounds, man. You'd make a darn good addition.
Will Erlinson, $10. Finished my first 100-mile race this weekend. 12-degree and icy trails in the Ozark Mountains. Half the field DNF'd. Thanks for contributing to my trained mind, guys.
I'll be dang. Good job,
That's
Will.
legit,
Big
man.
there.
That's
Yeah.
legit.
That's big, Will.
Matthew Scott came in at $10. He said 80 DAMN minutes.
Matt.
We love you, Matt.
Yep, 80 minutes.
Oh,
Hour
man.
20. He's trying to figure out how long 80 minutes is.
No, I was just thinking because we had another Matt too, didn't we? We only have one Matt.
Oh, no, we did have 2 Matt.
Yeah,
Matt
we-
Butcher.
Yeah, we had 2
Yeah.
Matts. So I was just
Yeah,
thinking
yeah.
in my mind if this was the right Matt. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Matt. Well, you can always come back and
Yep.
get you some again, brother.
We had little Virgil come in at 99 cents with that face with a jaw drop.
Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, LV.
James Wright come in at $1.99.
Pipe dream.
Still sick, but I'll be good for the squirrel hunt. Trump.
He's sick.
Yeah, he got
You got
something.
diverticulitis.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'll be dang.
And he's got fungus growing in his ear. This
Tore
black
up.
stuff keeps coming out of his ear.
Dang.
He went and he got fungus growing
Fungus
in
ear. Watching too much.
Do you really
mainstream
got
media.
diverticulitis?
Yeah.
James asked me that the other day. I said, no, Chili was just playing. He ain't got that.
there. He ain't got it.
Chili don't play, son.
We had
100% of the
Don
time.
Kedick, $2. You got me on the right path. Chicken biscuits for all.
Thank you, Don.
Y'all will learn how serious I really am as time passes. Yeah.
I already have.
It's going to.
That'll conclude Super Chats for the day.
God, what a show.
Outstanding. I enjoyed it, boys.
Me too.
Thank y'all for tuning in, and Lord willing, we'll see y'all next week. Enough said.